The world stood still, waiting. February had tiptoed out on quiet feet, leaving behind the last whispers of winter. Nature fluffed its feathers like a coat shrugged off too soon. The sky held its breath, the trees shivered in anticipation. Frost crept across the window, blurring the glass like a hush before the first note of a song. A child pressed their hands against it, eyes wide, sensing, without knowing how, that something was about to begin. And then, March arrived. March arrived, not with a gentle knock, but with a grin like a brewing storm and a rucksack full of trouble. His green hair whipped wildly, blending into the wind that carried him across the hills. His scarf twisted in the gusts, trailing like a banner of mischief.
Did you miss me?
He called to the world, his voice carried effortlessly on the gusts. His golden eyes sparkled with excitement as he adjusted his rucksack, already spilling kites, ribbons, and swirling leaves into the sky.
Don't look so surprised.
He added with a grin, watching the sky churn above him.
Winter had its turn. Now it's my time to play.
His scarf twisted in the gusts, trailing like a banner of mischief as he took in the town below, still too quiet, too settled.
Let's fix that, shall we?
He murmured, smirking as he tipped his head toward the wind. But he was never alone. At his side, the wind materialized from the air itself, a tall, wiry figure, shifting and restless. Wind's form was never quite solid, never quite still, her body composed of swirling blue currents that flickered between substance and sky. Her sharp silver eyes reflected the storm, and her voice carried the whispers of hurricanes and the laughter of stolen leaves. She was ancient, a force as old as the world, but she was also wild, and she was his best friend. From their perch atop the highest hill in Breezy Hollow, March took a deep breath, inhaling the stillness. Then he exhaled, hard. Wind responded instantly. Windows clattered open. Doors banged against walls. Chimneys coughed out startled puffs of smoke. A gust of air raced down the cobbled streets, upending laundry lines, flipping newspapers out of unsuspecting hands. Below, the townspeople shouted in protest, scrambling to catch runaway hats and rescue tumbling baskets of fruit. March laughed, tossing his rucksack open. Ribbons, leaves, and kites shot into the sky, carried by Wind's eager hands.
Go bigger.
Wind whispered, her voice crackling like distant thunder. March grinned.
You got it.
At the heart of the swirling chaos, one girl stood her ground. Penny Pine, a fierce, copper-skinned 12-year-old, planted her feet in the town square, her curly brown hair whipping behind her. She gripped the string of her bright red kite, struggling to keep it steady.
March!
She yelled into the wind.
I need a breeze, not a storm.
March skidded to a halt, blinking down at her. No one had ever yelled at him like that before. Wind cackled, twisting around March like a restless whirlwind.
What do you say?
She asked, her silver eyes flashing with amusement. March hesitated. He didn't do gentle. But Penny's glare was unwavering. With a dramatic sigh, March lifted a hand and sighed out a smaller gust. Something soft, something steady. Wind hummed, letting the air roll smoothly around Penny, lifting her kite in a perfect, effortless arc. Penny grinned, her eyes lighting up.
Perfect.
For the first time, March felt something different. Not just power, control, and he liked it. The town gradually settled, the wind losing its bite, turning playful instead of reckless. From the rooftops, March and Wind watched the world below, villagers laughing as they adjusted their hats. Penny still flying her kite, the last traces of March's chaos melting into something fun. Wind leaned back against the sky, her form flickering like a mirage.
You're learning.
She murmured. March snorted, shoving his hands in his pockets.
I just got distracted.
Wind smirked but said nothing. Below them, Penny looked up, her gaze meeting March's. She gave him a knowing nod, then turned back to her kite. March felt something warm curl in his chest, but he wasn't about to admit it. With a final gust, he and Wind vanished into the breeze, their laughter carried into the night. Spring would come soon enough. But for now, March still had time for a little more fun.